So in spite of being titled engines, there is still some work that needed to be done before we got to the engines. This is just restoring the panel lines across the join, the wing join that involves the fairing as well. So I'm just using some layered Tamiya tape, or kip tape in this case, and some vinyl tape to outline that, and a 0.1mm Madworks chisel to do the actual scribing work. Quick and easy, just requires a bit of care and some finesse, and then just cleaning it up and running some Scotch Brite and other small sanding things through to clean it up. And then when that's done, just repeating the process on small things like the cargo doors and stuff where some detail was removed while sanding the seams away. This is using some clear marked scribing tape, and again the same 0.1mm Madworks chisel. So onto the engines proper, just cutting them out off of the sprues here and cleaning up, knives and some sanding implements to get flat surfaces before you start gluing them. Quite simple assemblies overall. There was going to be some work done on these engines to replace the intake liner and stuff, so I decided to use a slow setting super glue to join the parts. It gives a bit of strength. One thing I did pick up, one tip that really does bear repeating, is try and avoid using accelerators for super glue joints like this, because it makes them brittle. If you can do this joining, gluing of parts like this and then leaving it to set on its own, you will get a much stronger result, which is a bit stronger in shear as well, which is where CA is normally very weak. So the kit's engines don't include intake trunking, they just have you trap the fan in the two halves of the engine, which leave a difficult seam to clean up. So in light of this, I decided to design and print my own intake lips, trunking and fan, as you can see here, which is designed in Fusion 360, and they were printed on my Mars 5 Ultra printer. They're not 100% accurate, but they're better than what the kit provides. And in line with that, the hot core and the pylons for the engines would be normally sort of trapped in between the halves as you assemble it. I didn't like this, so they were assembled and cleaned up, and they will be able to be slipped in after the two halves of the engine and the intake and main fan have been added. As is fairly common with engines like this, you actually have to do the painting as you go along. So here you can see me just adding an initial coat of light grey to the interior of the intake trunk. There's another couple of colours to be added here yet, but we'll mask and spray those shortly. And also just giving the hot section and pylons an initial coat, just to make sure everything's covered as we move on to assembling and properly painting all of this stuff. It just helps to have a base coat of the colour. This is Mr. Colour number 97, which is just a generic light grey. And then with some paint that was left in the brush, I'm just doing the wingtips and winglets here because I knew they would need a bit of work. So it's just using a bit of that leftover pale grey as kind of a show coat to see where I need to go from there in terms of sanding and finishing. So before getting the engines all together, I actually needed to do some painting. The intake trunking needs painting because there's three different colours in there. So the grey at the back where the actual fans would rub against it. So this is all being masked off here with some thin Tamiya masking tape. And then there's an area that is kind of a turquoisey green colour, and for this I used a mixture of MRP's Soviet interior turquoise with a good hit of white in it, just to give that, just to lighten it right up. Then this was sprayed in prior to some further masking being done. And so then with that turquoise area dry, that was then masked off in exactly the same way as the grey was. This does take a bit of time and care, and you have to carefully check your references to make sure you're getting more or less the right width of masking in there. But once this was all masked off on both engines, we were ready to spray the third colour into the intake trunking. So you can see it's just teasing it into place with some tweezers here, and then pressing it all down to make sure that all the edges are sealed. Don't use too much so you haven't got too much of an overlap. But then basically with that done, we're ready to paint. And in this instance, the rest of the intake trunking up to the lip is black, and so for this, it's just Tamiya's lacquer satin black. Not overly thinned. I don't want it to build up and run under the masking or anything like that. So thin enough that it sprays neatly, but not so thin that it will run under the mask. And then it's just running some paint around both of the intake trunks like so. There is technically one other colour to add, which is the natural metal intake lip, but that will be done after the intake trunking has been glued onto the engine itself and it's all been blended in, and that will be done as a kind of final flourish on the engines, if you like, after all the main painting's been done. And just a quick blast of that satin black over the actual intake fans and spinners. There will be a little bit further painting required on this shortly, but it's just getting the base colour on. So the leading edges of all the fan blades on these engines are natural metal, or a metal colour, against the black of the main fan colour, which I don't know what they're made of. I don't know if they're carbon fibre, but anyway, the main fan blades are black with a silver edging. Really quite tricky to do. I'm just using some Tamiya X11 silver here. It's their enamel range, and a very finely pointed brush, and just very carefully running it along the leading edges of each fan blade as we go around. Very fiddly. It's not a perfect result, but from any sort of distance it generally tends to look fine. And so with all the main painting of the intake fans and the trunks done, we can now glue the intake fans in place, and they're just a friction fit on these parts that I've printed, like so. They pop in. They wouldn't really move, but for the sake of this I will run some super glue around the back end of that joint, just to flood into the join line itself and make sure they're secured in place. So with the fans in place, we can now actually glue the intake assemblies into the engines. I'm just using some slightly thicker super glue here, liberally applying it. My lip is actually bigger than the diameter of the engine nacelle, so it will give me a chance to blend that all in. I should say the interior of the engine nacelle here does require quite a lot of thinning to fit my 3D printed intake tunnels. And that was just done with a motor tool with a grinding bit in it. I did film it, but I've lost the film somewhere. So yeah, it's not a difficult job. It just takes a bit of time. But that's just popping the intakes into place in the nacelle. Plenty of glue, making sure it all goes in and around the joint. And as before, if possible, don't use accelerator if you don't need to. Just reinforcing it from the back there, just to make sure everything is solidly in place, so when I sand and do all the restoring of detail, I don't risk cracking any of the seams. So with the glue dried around that intake lip, we can start removing the excess material. I'm using one of the Display files here. I've recently obtained these, and I have to say that in spite of being a toy, they're not essential by any means. I'm finding them very, very useful. They cut beautifully, and as long as you don't use them on things that will clog too badly, they do clean out very, very quickly and easily. So I'm just using, I think this is the 600 grade one, just to remove the bulk of the excess material that stands proud of the lip, along with the excess super glue here, because it cuts quickly and efficiently. And it's just basically working back down through various grits. As you go, you can see I've switched to a sponge sander, not a very not one with a lot of give in at this point, because I still want to be removing decent amount of material. This is more a shaping than a finishing operation at this point. Just working round. And it's also, because of the way this has been printed with a lot of excess, you've also got to try and maintain a nice curve to the lip, which is what you can see me doing there, with attending to the front and stuff like that just as we go. I think this was again, this was possibly a 400 grit sanding stick here. And then adding a little bit more of the thinner Loctite 495 super glue around. There were a few little voids and stuff that had formed, so running some more super glue just around that actual join on the lip there, and letting it set. Just, you have to keep going at this until you've got the finish you want. And then this is a 6, 8 and 1000 grit Infini sanders, the foamy ones. We're looking at getting towards the finishing here, so a softer sponge to go with the contours is fine. And then we can add the hot section with the engine pylon, and this is just repeatedly test fitting, removing material both from the pylon itself, as you can see here. Just test fit, trim, test fit, trim, scrape. There's no secrets here. It's just you have to be patient and keep with it, and then check the fit like so. There are inevitably going to be gaps with this kind of assembly. It's just very rare that there's not. And I'm just using a knife here to scrape out the actual recess it goes into a little bit. And then using Tamiya extra thin quick setting to glue it. As you can tell, it's one of the very few places I've actually used a solvent based cement on this model. So with all the joints dealt with on the pylons, what I've done is given the model, or the nacelles, a coat of metallic paint. I've used actually one of the AK metallic paint markers here. I'm just giving it overall because that really, really does show you where areas need more attention, whether there are any scratches, anything like that. And one of the main things it does is really highlights the panel detail here, so that I can rescribe and restore the panel detail over the joins and stuff. And not restoring the intake lip, that will just be masked and painted later. I'm using some Tamiya vinyl tape here, just to get them get the line marked out, and then using a fine JLC saw to restore the actual panel line itself. And it's just working across both nacelles and restoring all the panel lines. Most of them are fairly simple straight panel lines, and I find that this saw is really good at this kind of job. And so with the panel detail restored, I'm using a Madworks 1500 grit sanding sponge here, wet, to go over the entirety of the engine nacelle. Being limited run, there are some sort of moulding marks, artifacts and other little bits on the surface that make the surface a little bit uneven. So a good wet sanding overall will blend those restored panel lines in, and also deal with all those little surface artifacts that show up on the surface. So it's really, really worthwhile doing. Spending quite a bit of time here showing the sanding, because I know it bores some people, but I think it's quite important to show the process of going from your initial roughing with quite a coarse file through to actually finishing. 1500 grit is arguably finer than you need for most modelling, but this gives a really nice smooth surface, so I'm going with it here. If it's not clear and it's not metallic, you really rarely need anything above 800 grit in terms of wet and dry grits. But just getting right into all the little corners here, making sure you clean up all those areas where you've filled and sanded, because you want them perfectly smooth, and not showing any signs that you've done any work there, ideally. Just keep working at it. This is one of the only wet sanding bits I actually did on these, and then using the saw there, not actually cutting here really, just clearing the swarf out of the panel lines that I've previously rescribed. And more or less that is the engine nacelles done and ready for painting and attaching to the model at the end. So quite involved, but I think very much worth the effort to get these looking good. Very, very important part of the aircraft at the end of the day, and very noticeable. So spend some time, get them looking good, and if they catch the eye, people will look at them and think they look a fantastic job has been done. So often I see engine nacelles and stuff almost as an afterthought. People don't clean up seams and interiors of intake trunking and stuff like that. So spend the time, make it worth the effort. And that's us almost onto the stage where we're ready to start painting. So I'll see you next time and we'll start painting the model.